Dope, 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 let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Yo, bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most. I tell her, little bitch, she so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me. Niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
Izuku answers the phone, and he talks to Sir Night-Eye about working with his agency on a new case. This shocks Izuku because he just woke up, but the pro hero explained that the will of All for One cannot be stopped so easily, even if his own is broken. Izuku stands up and gets ready to leave the hospital. By now, the students of UA were in the dorms, and Izuku had to head there first in order to set up his own room. Since he can't bring Akamaru with him, because he's such a big dog now, he brings Kurama, since he was still just a baby fox. Next, when the students wake up, the next morning, Izuku was there on the couch. A bunch of them ran towards him, hugging him, and they tell him about the battle, and they ask what happened after. Izuku assumed all of this would happen, but he's so glad to be back in school with his friends, as it finally feels like he can have a normal life. The day goes on as usual, as at the end of it, Mirio takes Izuku out on patrol. They walk through the city, with many noticing who they were, since the battle was broadcasted. Izuku was still quite nervous around so many people, and with so many approaching him, but he had to get used to it. The two heroes continue down the street, with Mirio beginning to explain that he's been having weird dreams about his quirk, as he believes it's not just super strength and speed, there's more to One for All. Izuku listens in until a girl runs from a dark alleyway. She trips and Izuku catches her before she falls. The little girl that knew who he was. She hugged him and then whispered into his ear, War is coming." Izuku remained calm while watching a mysterious man walk from the shadows, claiming to be her father, and that she was just clumsy. Izuku then created a mind link between himself and Mirio. "We have to leave her for now, and then rescue her later. I placed a seal on her back so it won't be hard for us to find her." Mirio understands, and they let the girl go, as she begins to cry thinking no one would save her, but then hears the voice of Izuku. "Don't worry, I'm coming, and so are the rest of the heroes. Just be a little strong for me, and hold out a little bit longer." She nods and walks away with Overhaul. Izuku then transports himself and Mirio back to the office of Sir Night-Eye and explained what they've just witnessed. The Hero Association is gathered that night, and they have more information as well. Izuku is told to speak first, and he does. There's some sort of war on the horizon, and the little girl is at the center of it. Her quirk, from our research, is powerful and could prove to be dangerous if weaponized in the right way. I've placed a seal on her that cannot be removed at any time, so we can rescue her. He then sits down and listens to the rest of the meeting, as All Might has retired during his small coma, so they need to rely more on Endeavor and Mirio and Hawks. But Hawks is out on another mission right now, so they don't know when he'd be back. The teams are assembled, and there are different people in each unit. Some of the students from Class 1A are gathered as well, as they will be needed. This will be the final push, of the large villain organization that's in the shadows. We then get a glimpse of the Meta Liberation Army and Overhaul's villains that he's got together, as they were preparing as well. And since there was no Kaguya, All for One, or Shigaraki, the League of Villains had joined them as well. Days go by, as Izuku was training harder than ever with Bakugo, Todoroki, Kirishima, and Mirio, as all of them were pushing each other to the limit, with All Might being there to guide them. During their training is when Mirio unlocks Black Whip for the first time ever, but instantly realizes that he can't do anything with it, and as he thinks this, it vanishes. The past vessels then tell him that he needs to find a way to get rid of his original quirk in order to fully master One for All. This shocks Mirio, but he decides to tell no one and makes a decision on his own. In a city where people roamed around and villains hid in the alleyway, the heroes arrived to put everything on the line. Izuku looked to Mirio as they transported themselves to the base of Overhaul. Izuku grabbed Eri, telling her everything would be fine, but now they were surrounded by groups of villains. Izuku quickly summoned Kurama, who stood in front of Eri to protect her, as by now, he was a human-sized fox. Izuku and Mirio did their best, but Mirio could tell that Izuku still hasn't fully recovered from the battle with Kaguya, so he takes more of an offensive approach here in the battle, using 60% of One For All to push the villains back. After this was done, two people then walk into the area. Not just Overhaul, but Reed Destro as well. Izuku calms himself and gets ready for battle. It begins, with each side being evenly matched so far. Izuku trades blows with Reed Destro and Mirio overwhelms Overhaul. Everything was going good until Overhaul shot a bullet at Eri. Kurama got in the way to protect her, but Izuku knows that it would kill Kurama since he's basically made of a quirk, so he teleported himself in the way to shield both of them. He's already accomplished his goal, so it doesn't matter if his quirk vanishes, as he has faith in the Hero Association. Izuku then turns around, shocked to see that Mirio was on the ground, as he was the one who got shot. Izuku creates a wall of earth in front of them and then teleports them away from the area. He asks Mirio why he did that, but he gives no answer. Izuku doesn't know what to do, as he asks Mirio quickly which quirk was taken from him. But Mirio doesn't know, until lightning begins to surge around his body once again, but now is even stronger than before, and he couldn't phase through the ground, or fall through it. He's saddened that his original quirk is gone, but he knows it's for the best. Izuku leaves Mirio with Eri and Kurama, and he heads back to face the villain leaders alone. However, when he arrives, they were gone. So, instead, he entered the main battlefield to see Todoroki and Endeavor battling Dabi. The flames from this skirmish were so intense that Izuku was forced to put a barrier around them, so not to harm anyone else. Next, he heads to go fight someone else, as he does his best to support as many heroes as he can. But even Izuku knows he's not at full strength, as it's evident through his base Sharingan and not the Rinnegan. This causes him to hang back for the first parts of the war, and the first day ends with the victory of the heroes, as they did rescue Eri. Yet, they still haven't found the leaders of this operation. As later in the day, Izuku goes to check on Mirio, but All Might and Sir Night-Eye were there as well. He explained to them why he did it, as now he had access to even more of One For All. Black Whip came natural to him, since he wanted to protect more than anything, and Danger Sense, well, that was a given as well. All Might told him not to push himself, since All For One was still in their custody. Hearing this utterly shocked Izuku, who quickly asked where they were, keeping All For One. All Might told him the location and he went there immediately. He gets down, walking through many doors, and then he sees him. "Hello, father." "Well, isn't that a surprise? My son has finally come to greet me, after killing his own mother and brother. He was not my brother. Call him what you want, but he was your brother. Now free me, my son. Together, we can still rule this world." "Sorry, but I can't do that. If anything, I've come to tell you that once this war is over, I'm coming back to finish the job and kill you, as nothing's going to stop me." Izuku stands up leaving, but hears the words of his father. "Deny it all you want, but that statement alone shows me that the apple does not fall too far from the tree." Izuku then walks off while listening to the final words. "You're just like me, my son. Soon, you'll be bored of this world as well, and want to change from it." Izuku shakes his head and leaves the room. A couple days go by, as he can finally fully recover to full strength while the war was going on. But he hated it because he had to sit out for a lot of the battles. As they have now found the location of Reed Destro and Overhaul, Izuku says he's going, and he takes Todoroki, who just recovered from his battle with his brother, and Bakugo, who doesn't have any injuries. They meet up with Mirio and Sir Night-Eye as they now head to the office of the building. Reed Destro and Overhaul were looking down on everyone, and they were smiling. It will soon all be ours. Doesn't that feel great, Overhaul? Yeah, but we still don't know where All for One is. Patience. We will find our true leader in time. As he finished his statement, an explosion went off in the distance from the building, and the two of them, well, they could see it. Hawks, Endeavor, Todoroki, Izuku, Bakugo, and Mirio standing there. Izuku would slam down a flag with his seal on it as the entire hero organization is teleported to this remote city as well. Izuku, Hawks, and Mirio take to the skies and get a good look at the area and see the numbers of the villains. They're thinning out. Izuku heads right for Overhaul, since he could sense him. Mirio and Izuku crash into the building looking at them. Sorry to keep you two waiting. Overhaul moves his hand but is sent flying through the glass window by Mirio. As he was gliding through the air, Mirio appeared above him and grabbed him with Black Whip, pulling him into another punch. Before Overhaul could even hit the ground, Mirio appeared right there. But quickly, he turned, grabbing the ground, turning it into spikes. But he was met with smoke. A smoke screen. Mirio then pulled back his fist one final time, as he lands a barrage of punches that completely obliterates Overhaul. Mirio then looks down at his unconscious body, thanking him. If not for you, I wouldn't have been able to become this strong. So I guess I owe it to you. Back with Izuku, he stood in front of Reed Destro, who gained size quickly from his stress. Izuku opened his eyes, now revealing the Rinnegan once again as he held out his hand. I've lost patience for this constant bloodshed. I'm going to end this now. Almighty push. Every building around the two of them was then completely destroyed, and the villain himself just barely survived. This even marked the end of the warring period of Japan, as the heroes have come out victorious, but not without some scars from battle. Years do pass, as we see a graduated Izuku jumping from building to building. A robbery was going on in Hosu City, and he was chasing after them. Izuku jumped down from the building, stopping them, and he was interviewed by a reporter. After this, he heads somewhere else. He walks into a heavily guarded building, seeing All Might and Sir Night-Eye there. Are you sure you wish to do this? Yes, it must be done for me to finally achieve my goal. I've promised this not to myself, but for the hundreds that he's killed, even your mentors. And his sentence, well, it's already been decided by Japan as a death sentence. So, I believe I should be the one to do it. Izuku walks down through multiple security gates and sees All for One in a jacket, making him unable to move. It's been a while, my son. Yeah, it has. To the shock of All for One, Izuku heals his face, giving him sight for one final time, and his hair would return as well. Izuku sits down in front of him as he talks about his life for hours and all the pain that All for One has caused him. After listening to it, All for One was silent. It's as if he felt bad for his son, or at least that's what Izuku thought, until he heard laughter echoing throughout the room. All for One laughed at his weakling of a son. There's no way you could have been a weapon of evil. You can't even control your own emotions. Izuku sighed and raised his hand. Lightning surrounds it, and he jumps back. Izuku dashes forward, and with one strike, cuts off the head of All for One. Good riddance. Izuku leaves the room and heads out into the night to collect his thoughts. He gets a text on his phone, as the next day he heads somewhere. He shows up to a middle school, wearing a hat and shades to go in disguise. As a kid with dark hair, with a hopeful smile, then walks through the gate, as he has a bunch of kids surrounding him, calling him strong. He thanks them and then looks in the direction of Izuku. You ready for some training, Koda? You bet I am. I'll see you guys later. Wait, Koda. Who is that? Izuku takes off his hat, and all the kids nearly pass out, seeing Izuku Torino, one of the top heroes in the world right now. Izuku takes Koda to a beach where Kurama was laying down waiting for them. Finally, you two are here. Koda, since you have a powerful affinity to water-based abilities, I wanted you to meet someone for the next step in your training. Izuku then stomps on the ground, and it splits the waves, revealing the three tails in the water. Before Koda could go forward, the voice of someone is heard. "Hey, Koda!" The black-haired boy then turns around to see Eri, arriving on the beach with Mirio. The two kids greet each other with their custom handshake, and Izuku would smile at Mirio. "Don't you think you're moving its training a little too fast?" "No, not at all. I can't live forever, so I'm going to entrust everything to Koda." I thought he'd be scared for the responsibility at first, but he wasn't at all. He seemed more excited than ever to help others. I guess that's because he's better than me. I ran away for so long, didn't I? It makes me pretty lame. Mirio cheers up Izuku, saying he's done so much in a short amount of time, and Izuku nods as he looks back at the beach to see the pair of Koda and Eri. They were sparring. She moved fast and punched even faster, and Koda dodged swiftly using his quirk. I think the next generation of heroes is going to be just fine without us.